Give this a thought. So what the bigger traders do is, I've been in touch with them, I've spoken to them. What they do is, generally, they have two portfolios. Okay, so this is only for those who have a lot of capital. What you could do is you could create two portfolios. One is your equity portfolio, where you do your long-term investments, where you're banking on what? Your dividends, your bonus shares, your right issues, etc., etc., and the capital appreciation of the stock as well. But what the bigger traders do is simultaneously they have an entire portfolio of futures only. So let's say Tata Power. Okay, Tata Power is one of my favorite stocks, and I still believe it is undervalued considering the developments that are happening around the company, considering the developments that are happening within the sector itself. We are yet to see an entire era of electric cars, and this will be powered by electricity, which the major supplier right now is Tata Power. So it is extremely undervalued. So right now it is anywhere around 200, 300 rupees, and it is expected to go to 400, 500 rupees in the coming years. So what the bigger traders do is they buy Tata Power, and they keep rolling over the future till their 400, 500 rupee target is achieved. So this is an entire portfolio of futures only. This is how the bigger players play. That is how they are creating their wealth. अभी point clear है सबको? Yes or no? Quickly.
Himalay, could you please repeat once again? Sorry. So the rollover.
See, for the futures, right now Tata Power is around at 200. So what the bigger players do is, if let's say they are also banking if Tata Power will reach to its 500 levels in the coming years, what they will do is they'll buy Tata Power futures, and they will keep rolling over the contract till their 500 target is not achieved.
Understood. Thank you.
Why can't they go for equity in this case? Because equity में पहले तो आपको of course dividends and all मिलेगा, but आपको returns उतनी नहीं मिलेंगी. A future, what's the difference between an equity and a future? If let's say one lot of future is 100 quantity, so why doesn't the trader just simply buy 100 quantities in equity cash? Can someone tell me the difference?
Yeah, futures.
Like in Tata Motors, if you go for one lot, it will cost you around 3 lakhs. And if you buy 2850 stocks of the Tata Motors, it will cost you somewhere 12 lakhs.
Yes. So basically in futures, you're getting leverage. Okay, that is why your return on investment is much higher in this case. No leverage on equity, perfect. So there's this thing in finance that all finance people must be knowing. Why do companies take debt? In fact, if we look at the balance sheet or a fundamental analysis, if anyone does, or they have a brief idea about it, you'll see the first thing that we do is we check the debt of the company. Company have debt or not? And if they are able to pay the debt. If the company does not have debt, then that is not a good signal, or that is not a good sign, because it shows that the company does not have enough projects or enough work in their hand, and that is why they are utilizing their own money. Think of yourself as a businessman. If you're a businessman, if you have a lot of demand, now to supply or cater to that demand, what will you do? If you have, let's say, 100 rupees, you will put in that 100 rupees, but the demand is even more than that. You have to cater to that demand even more than that. So what will you do? You'll borrow some money from your friends, you'll borrow some money from somewhere, and you will cater to those demands. Debt finance. Perfect. Clear? All right.
Himalay, what is rollover? Actually, can you explain that, please?
See, rollover in very basic terms is cutting the existing position, squaring off the existing position, and buying the fresh position of the next month or 3 months later, whatever. So in futures, you have 1, 2, or 3. So let's say right now we are in April. April expiry is almost done. So if you want to buy a future, you can either buy a future of May, June, or July. up to 3 months.
So you mean to say if let's say May contract has been taken, it's finished, so we sell that off and then we take the June contract and that's the rollover.
Yes.
And the prices would be different from June.
Would be slightly different. There would be a very small slippage over there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
One more thing, Himalay, since I have been doing this thing since last 3-4 months. So you are saying that cutting the positions means booking a loss in the existing month where we are going to
loss of profit, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, maybe loss of profit. And the second thing, like April is going to end, so we will be only buying maybe May or June, because July will be on start with the very next day.
Sorry.
On last Thursday of the month, we cannot do a rollover for let's say August or July after this April.
You won't be able to do a rollover for August.
Yeah, for that I have to wait for next day.
Yes.
Okay.
So today itself, I squared off my HDFC Life futures, and then I wanted to roll over, but I did not, because right now, as I said, markets were feeling a little unstable. So I was initially planning to book my profit, and that's what I did, but I did not roll over because the markets are currently not stable. Rolling over is just basically buying a fresh position from the existing position. So future में हम लोग ऐसे नहीं count करते कि ये महीने का loss हुआ. We look at the net. After rollover, whenever your target price is achieved, then we look at the net P&L, profit or loss on that given trade. It's not that if this month it's a loss, next month it's a profit, again it's a loss. So it's not counted as that on an individual basis, cumulative. Then at the end, whatever your net trade or that net position has been there on P&L has been there on the position will be your profit or loss ultimately. Yeah, after April we'll get to that. Alright, so this was a brief idea on futures and options, since you all have already covered the topic. And this is again my personal view, why futures and option sellers are more likely to win in the market than option buyers. Now let's come to the market structure and let's try to understand that in much more detail. With futures में as such कुछ है नहीं, so there's nothing specifically to cover in that. Just like your equity, but it's at leverage. Now market structure, the one way that the market could go is in the upward direction. It is also known as a bullish move. Take a second, I'll prove that. So during a bullish trend, what happens is market looks something like this, right? So again, if I put this in a statement form, what is happening? Market is moving in a higher high and a higher low structure. Now, what is that one mistake that majority of you all are already making or doing is that you are chasing the market. इसका क्या मतलब है? So what you are doing is you're not looking at the bigger picture. You are seeing that if the market has started correcting, you will start shorting the market somewhere around over here. Or if you, let's say you're buying into the market, you're buying somewhere around over here, which is wrong. You're chasing the market. You're buying the market at the top, or you're selling the market at the bottom, which is absolutely wrong. So what is that one strategy that we follow in a higher high, higher low market? Batao? Buy the dip. So what you have to do going forward is, if you see a higher high, higher low structure, wait it out. Patiently wait. Let the market come to you. So once if it's forming a higher low, when the market has gone up, let's say it's already formed this higher high, higher low. Now again it's formed a higher high. We'll not buy over here at the top. Let the market come down. Over here, when it's showing some sort of a bullish sentiment, like your bullish candles, bullish candle patterns, etc., that is where you will buy. Now, how do we know exactly, Himalay? So that you will understand in the coming sessions once I cover Fibonacci with you all and once I cover RSI as well. For now, we are just trying to find the right entry. Ab hota kya, you all have also learned about breakouts, right? How many types of breakouts are there? Batao?
6.
You must have learned about the types of breakouts. 6 types of breakouts. And let me tell you, 77% of the breakouts fail. Why? Actually, it's not failing. Technically, what is happening is, in majority of the cases, in case of a breakout, what is happening is it is actually following the market structure. So, अगर breakout हुआ है, what will happen is it will again come down, form that higher low, and from there it will go back up. So it seems like it has given a false breakout. Now, most of you all, what you'll do is you'll buy at the breakout, at the top, when the market is already at the top. Your cost price is very high. Your risk to reward ratio is terrible. That is why you will see me never trade a breakout, except for if it is an inside candle pattern. Other inside candle breakout. So if it's an inside candle, that is the only breakout that I trade. Other than that, I do not trade breakouts. What is happening? I'll tell you. अब हो क्या रहा है कि in a higher high higher low structure, I am buying the price or I am buying the market over here at the higher low. My cost price is, let's say, 100. Where are you all buying? You all are buying once the markets have already gone up. You're chasing the market. आप लोग buy कर रहे हो यहाँ पे. After, let's say, after this breakout, you're buying it over here. Now, what is happening? You are buying at 120. So I'm already in a 20 rupee cost profit. I'm already in a 20 rupee profit. After that, what is happening? Market goes up, you're briefly in a profit, now it's coming down. Just to follow that structure, you're in a loss. You have already exited at the top. तो आप लोग difference समझ रहे हो? By the time I am planning my exit, you're just planning to enter over there. Or in the other way around, where you are planning to enter, I am already planning to book my profit over there. Logic समझ आ रहा है? Yes or no? Has this been happening with you all? Buying at the top. Buying at the top, time and again. Recently, someone asked me, Tata Power पे sir breakout हुआ है. Everyone knows that Tata Power is my favorite stock. And I told them one thing, अभी buy मत करना. It for me looks like a false breakout. What has happened in Tata Power? It has given that false breakout. Why? Is it actually a false breakout? No, it is just respecting what? Logic समझ आ रहा है? So don't, again, someone says, yes, there's a fear of missing out. Don't have this fear of missing out. Patiently wait. Trading is not about executing trades every single day. आने दो trade को आपके पास. Let it come to you. Let it come to that higher low level. I will buy that. Be prepared in that. Be prepared in your mind. What is happening over here? Again, the same thing. Overall, primary trend is in an upward direction. So firstly, either your entry is wrong, you're buying at the top, or secondly, what is happening is, in that primary trend of an upward direction, you are shorting the market. You're playing the secondary trends. That is where you get trapped. Clear it? Are you all getting the logic? Yes or no? Any doubts till now? Very important concept. I'll be showing you how to take trades. Does this work on swing trading only? No, it works on intraday. It works on every single time frame. Secondly, through this concept, I also tell one thing to almost all my clients. Psychology, जो आजकल majority of the traders talk about psychology, कि psychology नहीं है sir, I am facing difficulty in my psychology. I am facing difficulty in my psychology. Why? See, psychology is important, but it is a very, very, very small aspect of your trading. Try to understand. If your entry and your exit is right, where does the psychology come from? If you're buying at the right price, selling at the right price, where does the psychology come from? What is happening is you're buying at the top, now your P&Ls go in red. It briefly goes in green and then it goes in red. Now you definitely need a psychology. You have to sit in the trade or not. And at this point, you're not even sure that the market will form that higher low. Logic समझ आ रहा है? if your entries and exits are right, you do not need psychology to that great of an extent. I'll tell you, this concept has been overblown in the past couple of years, especially after the COVID period, because technical se zyada now everyone has shifted into that direction because that is easier to teach. Very simply, very bluntly, I'm telling it to you all. Psychology is very simple to teach. क्या करना है, सिर्फ मोटिवेट करना है. क्या कर रहे हो, सो क्यों रहे हो, उठो, करो, ये क्या कर रहे हो, ऐसे करो. That is very simple. उसमें कुछ भी नहीं है. Technical सोचो. Technical is difficult. You have to understand that analysis. What is happening over there? Market is forming a higher high hand. Now, from an F&O point of view, what happens is, let's say you're buying over here, or even otherwise. If you're buying over here, it's mandatory to exit at the stop. Now, there are two ways. One, you can hold till your target, that end target, but there is a lot of risk. So, what I personally suggest is try capturing and booking profits at each and every swing. Why? Can someone tell me why? Anyone? This is, let's say, point A. This is point B. Why are we willing to exit a book profit at point B?
Simple. If you have a risk to reward ratio predetermined, it's quite easier to play in the market.
Anything else?
We don't know when the price or when the trend is bent.
Perfect. So in very simple terms, I will exit at B. Why? Because at point B, at this point, I do not know if the market will continue its higher high, higher low structure. At this point, what could happen? Market can form a lower high, and from there the market structure can also reverse. Yes. So that is why isn't it better for me to secure my profits at the top? And again, if it's forming that higher low only, then I buy into the market again. If it's not, then I might just think of reversing my trade or reversing my view in the market. Yes or no? Yes or no, chat quickly. बताओ, समझ आ रहा है कि नहीं समझ आ रहा है? The market structure can reverse also. That is why I am saying it's better to book profit. फिर क्या है, दोबारा entry ले लेंगे यहाँ पे. If the market is forming a higher low. If it's not, then we'll exit. Then we'll think of a new strategy. Then we might see either market is getting into a consolidation or market is reversing. Then we'll see उस time पे क्या करना है. Secondly, from an F&O point of view, let's say option buying point of view. Let's say at point B, you're very certain that the market will form a higher low. Now what has happened? Let's say you're purchased over here, you're in a 100 rupee profit, market corrects for a bit, then again comes up. At the same level, will you again have a 100 rupee profit? You'll have anything a little less than 100 rupees. Why? Time decay. So, point समझ आ रहा है? Are you all getting the difference? So, firstly, we cannot be so sure that the market will form a higher low. Secondly, even if, let's say, there's a situation where we are too sure, we are still losing out on some money. That is why trading is all about buying and also exiting. Point clear to all? Yeah. All right. Now, through market structure, I told you psychology is also not as important, because if you're taking a right increase and exits, your PNL is in majority of the times in green. आपको overall पता है primary trend क्या है. So for 1 or 2 days, even if the market goes in a sideways direction, you're not really bothered, because you know overall where's the primary trend, and you will hold your trades and you look at the charts from that perspective. You know that the trade will come in your direction. Moreover, the risk to reward ratio in a higher high, higher low structure, let's say there's again a higher high, higher low structure, I'm buying over here. I'll give some points A, B, C, D, E. I'm buying at E. Where is my stop loss in this case? Slightly below C. Why below C? Last swing है तो क्या? What is the importance of it in terms of market structure? What is the importance of it? The structure or the structure is changing or the structure is reversing. Now what is happening if C breaks? What is happening? Market has formed a lower low. समझ रहे हो? Trend is changing. So my risk to reward ratio wise, this is by far the best entry from a risk to reward ratio wise. And secondly, for the time being, your stop loss will be C or little less than C. Eventually, once I teach you Fibonacci retracement and the Fibonacci tool, our stop loss will be even more stricter, making your trade even or giving your trade an even better risk to reward ratio. Okay, for those who understand the Fibonacci, it's 61.8 ka level. For those who do not, don't worry about it. I'll be covering that topic in detail. So your risk to reward is also favorable. So what we are doing is we are buying at E with a stop loss of C, minimal loss, maximum profit. कुछ नहीं तो at least market D तक तो आएगा to form that double top, right? Now what most of you all are doing is buying at the breakout of D. Is your risk to reward favorable? No. Where is your stop loss now? If you're buying just at the breakout of D, your stop loss is still around C. It is not around E. Clear a point? Is this point clear to all? Alright. So on these lines, let's come to the second direction. Bearish market. Same concept. The only difference is market structure will be what? In a lower high, lower low formation. Yes, Rohit, we are trying to play the pullback rather than the breakouts. Why? Because this is the most safest entry. We are trying to play this rather than playing the secondary trend or playing the breakouts from here, just halfly capturing the trend. It is very risky to enter a trend in midway. ये याद रखिए. Some risky traders do say this to buy high and sell higher. This is also a concept. If you go online, you'll see many traders also doing this. Buy at a higher price and sell at a higher price. This is what? Nothing but your breakout trading. And this is very risky. Okay? So in a downward trend, the formation is a lower high, lower low. So what is the strategy that you will follow?
Sell on rise.
Sell on rise. So in this case, you need to wait for the market to form a top. Only then I will short in the market. In such a market, you will never buy into the markets. Or in such a formation, you will never buy into the market. Always wait for the market to come to you. Patiently wait. Then take that opportunity, grab that opportunity and take the trade. So what will you do? Let the market fall. Okay, not a problem. Will you buy over here? No. Let it come up. अब मेरे को एक lower high मिल गया. Now what will I do? I will aggressively short. Where will I book my profit? Once I see an exhaustion of this swing. Why? Again, because at this point in time, I do not know if the market will continue to form a lower high or will it just simply reverse the trend and go in a higher high, higher low. Now, through this formation of a higher high, higher low and a lower high, lower low, we can come to a conclusion. What? Now, I can say one more thing. And I can also verify one more thing from Dow theory. Principle number 1. I told you one thing. Forget about the news. Forget about what the news is saying. Forget about whatever at a global level is happening. Why? Because can't you just simply trade a market looking at the structure? Let's say, I'll tell you something very logically. Think about it. This is a company, Reliance. अब Reliance में currently there is something happening with the future retail deal. Yes, are you all aware of it? Something is happening around the future retail deal. Now, do you all think that the future retail deal is the only parameter that is affecting the company just because it is out there in the news? Simultaneously, aren't there the oil prices or the crude oil? Simultaneously, there could be other management issues. Simultaneously, there is the result, the dividends. Simultaneously, God forbid, or something happens to Mr. Mukesh Ambani. Won't the price immediately fluctuate and move in the opposite direction? So logically tell me, from a trader point of view, there are multiple parameters affecting a company. So from a trader point of view, how many can you take into account? And how sure are you कि how will people react to it? समझ आ रही है what I'm trying to say over here? Are you all getting the logic? One will say crude oil price are increasing positive for Reliance. One will say future retail deal is not going through, it's negative for Reliance. So ultimately, we don't have a base or we don't have a foundation to take a decision whether to go long or whether to go short. We are confused. Results come something extraordinary. But on the other hand, there are some management issues. There's a whistleblower case. What will you do? We do not know. So in very simple terms, through market structure, let's say Reliance is in a higher high, higher low structure. Something happens to Mr. Mukesh Ambani, unfortunately. But you aren't, as a trader, aware of it. What will happen on the chart? कोई मुझे बता सकता है what will happen on the chart if the market is forming a higher high, higher low? Something happens to Mr. Mukesh Ambani, he falls sick or he's unwell. And you as a trader aren't aware of the news. What will happen to the chart?
Panic selling.
Panic selling नहीं, chart के हिसाब से क्या होगा? Panic selling तो होगा ही होगा.
Lower lows, lower highs.
The direction will reverse. Now tell me, do you need a reason to know why the direction has reversed? कि ये सिर्फ suffice enough है? Isn't this a suffice enough information for me that when the market was in a higher high, higher low, I will buy the dip, and as soon as the previous low is starting to break, I will now think about sell at rise when the market came into a lower high, lower low formation. Logic समझ आ रहा है अभी what I'm trying to cover over here? As a trader, you do not have the time to look into so many parameters and then build a decision on it because trading is quick, trading is fast. Even if you're a swing trader, you cannot take into account so many parameters. But what I could do is, I now have a base strong foundation that as long as my chart is in a higher high, higher low formation, I will just simply buy the dip. As soon as the previous lows are starting to break, now the market structure has probably reversed into a lower high, lower low. And then what will I do is I'll just wait for sell at rise. Everyone, is this point clear? Yes or no in the chat quickly? Any doubts? I'm ready to take doubts right now. Without. I'll show practical charts में भी दिखाऊंगा. But theoretically समझ आ रहा है कि नहीं पहले वो बताओ. तो न्यूज मैटर करती है टेक्निकली नो. You'll never see me talk about news. Generally you'll never see me what is happening in the other economies. See, it is good to have an idea why. अब जैसे I've been talking about the dollar index. Now that is something we have a reference point of view. Or let's say if we know that the crude oil is increasing, so generally we should have an idea कौन सा sector to target. That is the only information that we need. But that does not help us in our trading decisions or an entry and exit. If you look at the last year, our Indian markets had decoupled from the US markets. US markets were moving in an upscale, Indian markets were plunging. Indian markets were going up, US markets were plunging. They were going in an opposite direction. But does that matter to me? No. Because अगर मेरे इंडिया में बाइंग हो रही है तो मैं इंडियन मार्केट में ट्रेड कर रहा हूँ. So what I will do, I will simply buy. Why do I care कि US में सेलिंग हो रही है? If in my Indian markets, if there's panic selling happening, then why do I care if there's buying happening in the US? What do I have to do in that? If my Indian market equity structure is showing a lower high, lower low, I'll just respect that because this is the actual sentiment in my market. This is where the primary direction of the market is, the primary trend of the market is. Then भले US 10% ऊपर जाए, does not matter. भले UK 10% ऊपर जाए, does not matter. If there is selling in my country, might be due to whatever reason, could be an internal issue, could be an internal country issue, could be anything. India doesn't have oil. Probably that's the reason. Raw materials are becoming expensive for India. Probably that could be the reason. Whatever the reason may be, does not matter. As long as my structure is in a lower high, lower low, what I will do is simply stick to sell at rise. Why should और ऐसे क्यों हो रहा है वैसे क्यों हो रहा है ठीक है so through this what you all can understand is one, stop focusing on the news, it's not as important, just focus on your market structure. Secondly, this is also a very big benefit for especially the intraday traders as well. Many a times during the day what you will see is through this you can take bilateral trades. Matlab you will start taking trades in both directions. So as long as my structure is in a higher high, higher low, you will buy into the market. And if it starts moving into a lower high, lower low structure, you will start selling in the market. As simple as that. This is also favorable for swing traders, but this is especially favorable for intraday traders because during an intraday trading, this is something that usually happens. Okay, there are many days where market forms a bilateral formation. Sometimes you'll see it forms a hammer. Hammer में क्या होता है? सुबह से selling होती है, then towards the day end buying होती है. So this is very important for intraday traders as well. They'll short the market throughout the day or till midday, and once they start seeing that the previous highs are breaking, they will start buying into the market. Secondly, or moreover, let's say that the markets are falling. Now there are two types of entries. This is a major support level. Let's say this is Nifty 17,000, a major support level. Now Himalay, what can we do? So there are two types of entries that you can take. One, if you are a risk seeker, you say that this is 17,000, a major support level, and if you want to take a lot of risk, you can immediately buy over here at the support level, provided you see some sort of a bullish formation. But on the contrary, if you want to take a safer approach, so मेरे को बताओ now, you all tell me what will you all do if you want to take a little safer approach. Markets have been plunging, now the markets have come to 17,000.
Higher.
Perfect. We will wait for the market to form that higher low, where this high is breaking the previous high. So what you will do is, instead of buying at the support immediately, you will rather buy at that higher low, and now it is confirmed that the market structure is also reversed, so you can comfortably trade on the long side of the market. A much more safer entry as compared to buying over here immediately, because at support, sometimes what if the support breaks? So that is also a risk. That is the risk of buying immediately at the support or selling immediately at the resistance. What if that breaks? फिर क्या करोगे? Then it will be a problem. So let me cover all these points on the charts to make things much more clear. About the sideways market, I'll just quickly briefly cover and then I'll specifically talk something about it. Sideways is nothing but a consolidation. Market is within a range. Now on paper, what is the strategy that you will do if you see a sideways market? What is the strategy that you will follow? Higher high, higher low mein we were buying the dip. Lower high, lower low mein we were selling the rise. What will you do in a consolidating market?
Breakout and retest.
No, in a sideways market mein bol raha. I'm not talking about breakouts.
Buy the support and sell the resistance.
Buy the support and sell the resistance. Now this sounds very simple, but consolidation markets are by far the most difficult markets. I'll just show you an example. पहले तो I never trade pharma, but very good example around over here. This is something from the previous explanations only. So what I was explaining over here is, now look at this, market is in a sideways direction. Now, is it as clean as the one that we see over here, buy the bottom, sell at rise? No. Over here you can see how messy the markets become during consolidation. So it may sound very simple कि यार consolidation is very good, buy the bottom, sell the rise, but that isn't the case. Markets aren't as clean. It is very choppy. Secondly, as I said, 77% of the breakouts fail. This is what I had highlighted earlier. Over here, what is happening? Markets gave a breakout. Will you buy? Till date, what you are doing is you will buy. What has happened? Market reversed. Now, if you wanted to take a safer entry, अभी मैंने आप लोग को market structure सिखाया. Now, what will you do? Let's say it gave a breakout over here. What will you do? Can someone tell me? How will you take a trade if you want to go long? So instead of saying a retest, what we'll now become a little more professional and we'll say we'll wait for a higher low. Has the market given a higher low over here? दिख रहा है कोई higher low? Any sort of bullish formation over here? एक दिन यहाँ पे doji बनी थी, but is there any confirmation for the doji? This is the previous low. Is there any confirmation for the doji? No.
No, sir.
So can I go long? No. Haven't I secured? बच गए हम, बच गए. समझ आ रहा है? Are you all getting the practical understanding now of this? What are we trying to do? Ignore the RSI. I'll just hide it. Are you all getting the logic over here? How are we safeguarded? We are safeguarded because we are respecting the structure. So as per my structure, I will never buy at the top. If you are buying over here, it's called as buying at the top. The cost price is very high. बैंक निफ्टी पे आते हैं. Now over here, this is a very big channel. Okay. Over here I've already marked market. What is this? High, low, high, low. So overall primary trend is in a downward direction. Isn't there selling happening in the markets? It is happening. But recently I've been saying it is now time that we shift to a bullish sentiment is because of Fibonacci, certain rules of Fibonacci that we haven't covered. So I won't be able to explain that right now. Though we have got a lower high formation. Basically over here the 61, for those who understand, the 61.8 level has been breached. So that is where there's a possibility that now the market structure will reverse. नहीं समझ आ रहा है वो चीज, not a problem. I'll be explaining Fibonacci later. So in such a situation, what we will do? Now over here, just from this swing to this swing, markets were in an uptrend, forming a higher high, higher low structure. Now after that, what has happened? Let's say you purchased over here thinking that the market has formed a higher low. Market went up, immediately gave a bearish engulfing. Time to exit, yes or no? Or at least if it came back to the same level, time to exit, yes or no? Stay with me. Now we are trying to take trades. Market was in a higher high, higher low, hammer formation. पहले तो hammer की confirmation आई नहीं है. But for some reason you take a long position over here thinking that market is now giving you a higher low. You go long, but after that you see immediately a bearish engulfing and the market again comes back to the day low over here eventually. Will you exit CTC or at a very minor loss? Yes.
Yes.
Why? Because now what is happening?
No.
Now what is happening? Lower low ki lower high. Now the market has formed a lower high. The previous high could not be reached or the previous high could not be broken. समझ रहे हो? Secondly, पहले तो यहाँ पे लॉन्ग की एंट्री थी नहीं. Why? This is a hammer. Is there any confirmation for the hammer? Is this a confirmation for the hammer? Are we getting a closing above the previous high or the hammer formation का high?
No.
यहाँ पे ऊपर क्लोजिंग देखो क्या आ रही है. Closing is 39,763. High was 39,775. Approximately 12 points. 12 points lower closing than the previous high. Is this a confirmation for your hammer? Yes or no? 1st November का candle बताओ. Is it a confirmation for the hammer? Can I go long? No. Clear it? Now after that, what has happened? I missed out on this short trade. Do I regret? No. But what information I got right now is market formed a high. Now the next high the market is forming is a lower high. So what is the market doing? Market is rather getting into a lower high, lower low formation. Yes or no? Yes. Bearish engulfing formation. Any sort of confirmation? Not really. I can ignore this rally. Let's say I ignored this rally. Later on, we'll take much more accurate trades once we combine RSI and Fibonacci. For now, let's say we ignored this rally. Kuch nahi bol raha hai as per the candle pattern. Just give me a second. Now what is happening? Market has formed that lower low. Will I buy over here? Thinking that market has come to 35,000 levels. Will I buy over here? No. Why? Because what is there in my mind? That the market is continuing its lower high, lower low structure. What I will do is I'll wait for the market to come up. Now again, what will I do? I'll wait for a short entry over here. Doji followed by a confirmation. Can I go short? Yes, I can go short. Markets have come down to 33,000 levels, 34,000 levels. अब यहाँ पे देखो यहाँ पे difference क्या है? Isn't this a major support level? Yes or no? A major support level, previous resistance turn, support. So over here, what I will do is I'll become cautious. In my mind, I'll still wait for a lower high, lower low. But I will be cautious now. What if the market structure is reversing? What happened? From here, the market structure reversed. Is it important that I play this rally? Not really. Only the risk seekers would have immediately purchased after the consolidation break at the bottom. Otherwise, what you could have done is let that market from that high. Can I buy over here? Yes or no? Once I know that the previous high, so over here you can clearly see this is a new high, this is your previous high, how the structure has reversed. Now over here, can I buy at the higher low? Yes, I can. Point clear है? Yes, yes, Apurva, बताओ.
What you meant by hammer ka confirmation, like high and low of hammer, anything has broke.
That is for the entry. See, Apurva, overall what we are trying to understand is market was in a higher high, higher low formation, right?
Yeah.
So over here, I would have thought that I should go long since it's a higher low. Clearly, this is higher low. This low is higher than its previous low. Yes. So I would have thought of going long. So for that, I need to take an entry through price action. What is the price action over here? Hammer.
Correct.
But are we getting a confirmation for the hammer?
No.
So can we go long?
No.
Clear hai?
Yeah. Thank you.
So overall, if you see, again the same thing. Market structure reversed. Immediately after that, market formed a lower high, lower low formation. Came to a very important major support. Again, market went to a higher high, higher low. I'll show you a very interesting example. This is a very this is an example on which I've created a video also on YouTube. I'll share it with you all later. This is long back, so it will help you to revise your trades and to revise this entire concept of market structure. So anywhere around, and through this you can find signals of reversal also. Okay. Last year March and April के बीच में था somewhere. So just bear with me for 2 minutes. I'll have to just find it again. Now we